Oh, it's in a flying saucer.
You've seen one?
Yes, definitely.
Unidentified aerial phenomena.
To cover up our mistakes.
I've met people who swear they've seen Bigfoot.
Join us for a journey into the obscure.
You are now listening to The Wow Pod.
All right, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Tonight we're talking with Troy Marsh, and Troy is a healer. And not only does he practice healing in the Western medicine style, but he also practices it in more, I guess, Eastern. He used that word a minute ago in our pre-chat, but in a more traditional spiritual style. And that's the one we're going to explore tonight. I don't think people would come to a monster alien ghost show to learn about about Western medicine. There's probably
he's really good at that as well.
I might have a few monster stories. We'll see.
Yeah, he's the best. He's the best at his Western medicine practice, hands down.
Yes.
We both
you guys are too kind.
Easily.
we
the
both
best.
we both know that. We've both experienced that. We've both been customers of his, but he also practices this other form of medicine.
I've been keeping that in the closet.
Yeah.
Oh, the Western medicine, you keep that in the closet?
No, the other stuff.
Yeah, well, the other stuff, and
It makes you a very well-rounded practitioner.
it does.
though.
It does. And I'll tell you one thing about when people come in to see you is you're a warm person. You're an inviting, warm person. So when they come to see you in your medical practice, I think part of that Eastern bleeds through because you're a warm, inviting person.
I think that's the most important thing in healing.
It is.
Is to love
The
somebody,
bedside
love
manner
somebody
is
else.
what they like to call it
Yeah.
over here, and
Exactly.
you've got that in spades.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. I've got a
Agreed.
great team where I'm at.
Yeah,
Agreed,
yes, you
agreed.
do.
Complement each other.
Yes, you do, and I do know that, and I experienced your other healing practice a few times.
I remember.
Yeah, because of it was off the clock stuff,
Sure.
and so I was there after hours and got to experience some of the other stuff, but
As have I.
as has Betsy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's so this is going to be an interesting talk. This one's going to go deep. So we don't know how long it'll be.
So hang on, people.
Yes.
So many questions at the end of this.
Yeah.
You just fire them away.
Yes. We'll try to make sure.
Leslie says, I'm a nurse. I welcome alternative medicines. Would you consider it alternative or complementary?
Yeah. Anytime you break away from the whole or the holy, you're considered a part or an alternative
Okay.
to the whole or the holistic. Again, these are words, but what we're really trying to do with healing is get back home, back to the holy or the the holistic. So,
That's
we
the
have
stuff
all these
that's going to make
branches
me
of-
have all these dreams and stuff.
Now, dreams is where you want.
I need to start writing these down. We're trying to get back. Let me have your pad of paper. there.
Better yet, don't write them down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, remember? We
Oh,
talked
that's
about
right.
that.
And he was just talking to us about words. All right, stop. Okay.
Yeah, no notes need to be taken.
Hi, Mariah. Hi, Barbara. Got a few more people joining in.
Yeah.
So, Troy, tell us about...
I'm just getting some shares out of the way real quick.
All right. Tell
bet.
us about yourself. Where do you hail from?
I grew up in Davis County and started working here in Tooele County in 1992. So I've been 30 years in practice, including my graduate studies in Arizona. But I was born and raised here in Utah. And I live in Grantsville now and love it, out there by the mountain. And
You do have...
By the mountain?
No, he has the best place out there.
it's
By the mountain is
It's
if you count the two people that live closer to by the mountain.
It's a secret. My nearest neighbor is 2 miles away. Let's just say that.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
have the best view.
Yeah.
the best view out there.
It's beautiful, and
Let's just say the sun sets at his house at 1:30.
That's a place that's really been a beneficial place for me, healing wise. So,
I'm sure.
yeah.
Hi, Teresa. Hi, Celia.
Head out in the mountains, and you're gonna pick up some good mojo.
Yeah. Well, and that's been kind of known forever, hasn't it? Just kind of.
Oh yeah.
I think the camping thing kind of sparked up in the 70s, but that's when people more retreated into suburbs.
Yeah.
But that was where people went to reset from their office jobs or factory jobs.
I recently had this experience in the woods. I live literally in the junipers, so this is the first time I actually took my cot, my sleeping bag, and I wanted to just sleep under the junipers. You know, the meteor shower was going on.
Oh yeah, gosh. Did you get any sleep? I'll bet you just amazement all night.
I spent some time just connecting with nature and so forth. But I had this wild dream, and I woke up and I literally thought there were cars and RVs parked around my place. First of all, the coyotes woke me up, and I went back to sleep. And then I went into this dream that I dreamt that I woke up. And when I woke up, there was all these cars and RVs, and I couldn't believe it. I got my flashlight up, and I got up and I walked around, and finally met this man, and he said 3 words to me, and that's when I started to become confused, like I'm in a dream, because it was so lucid. But those 3 words don't mean anything other than the feeling that came with it. And anyway, my point is, if you get to the woods, the mountains, you're more likely to have something healing going on. And that dream actually turned out to be interpreted by one of my teachers, was really a dream that basically said, we all go to the crossroads, and we all have choices, and you got to decide what you're going to choose. So, do you choose eland or monsters? You choose the black bear.
So is that
bear?
Could that be like some interpretations of? Well, you've got crossroads demons show up a lot in. Kind of, I don't know, mythology or modern day mythology.
We're talking about the spiritual crossroads.
But these are crossroads, a lot in the same. Do you choose a path that takes you towards further enlightenment, or one that takes you away from it?
Yeah, that's this is a good place to start, because you literally, we all go to a spiritual crossroads, and every day you have to choose which direction you're going to go. And if you don't have that primary cornerstone in your life, then reality is going to happen to you, and that reality is going to literally program you into behaving almost like an automaton. So you have to choose carefully, and the crossroads, literally, legends have it that you'd go to the crossroads if you wanted to be a good musician and sell your soul to the devil, and
oh yeah,
you know the songs.
Oh yeah,
And that's figuratively and literally a real thing going on in life. But anyway, that's a good place to start. Know that there's a crossroads for everybody, and you need to choose carefully what that is. We talked a minute ago about kindness. Is that your primary cornerstone? Do you want your reality to be created around kindness, or do you want to spot alien ships in the sky? It's depends on what you choose.
Yeah. I hope that my world's created around kindness and understanding. That's kind of what I hope my world's created around.
Amen.
Because I just think that I know it sounds like a weak premise, but I think that arms me a little better to approach any situation.
Wasn't it Gandhi that said kindness is my religion?
Yeah.
Somebody
well,
said somebody.
And Gandhi also slept with all the young women in the neighborhood. But
He knew where the home was.
I mean,
then he had to tell his wife, honey, I was just testing myself and I failed. I'll try again tonight.
so were you raised with a religion or in a
Yeah.
spiritual home?
Yeah, I was born traditionally in a Mormon family, but being young, I was sensitive. I saw things, especially at night.
Uh-huh.
I would sense that something was in the room, and I would wake up in the middle of the night. I mean, I was young. I was definitely under 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I would look up and I would see these weird creatures. I'd call them shadow creatures or shadow, and scared the hell out of me. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it scared me to the point where I would literally put my covers over my head and pray. So I was taught to pray, like I was taught in primary. And I think that was a key little piece of my healing journey, was that I turned to God early, out of fear.
I don't know what these are.
Save me, Lord.
I mean, there's probably lots of reasons people turn to God, fear.
Fear is definitely a good motivator, though.
Trying to make your parents happy, or if
Trying to
you're
fit in.
maybe a homosexual, you become a Catholic priest. I'm just kidding. That
You're so
that was
bad.
wrong. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist the chance to
repent.
lay a bad joke down.
So what started you kind of branching out from that first initial reaching to your cornerstone religion?
Yeah. It was probably an experience when I was 19 years old. And it literally haunted me until recently when my mind figured it out. Actually, I didn't figure it out. My teacher had to teach me what it was. And I'll just share the experience. If you're,
Sure.
I was, and some of you probably had a similar experience, but I was 19 years old, so, raging hormones.
Mm-hmm.
And we had two girls in the boat at Pineview. And, Pineview's a beautiful area. And we were resting, and it wasn't crowded. And 1980, Grammy Award-winning artist, Christopher Cross, his number one song on that album was playing in our 8-track. I'm old school.
Christopher Cross. Now, wasn't he also an actor?
Give me a second.
No, sailing. Remember this number?
Uh-huh.
Sailing. And so I was on the bow of the boat, and I was just kind of just kind of balancing on the boat, listening to the music, and moving with the rhythm of the lake, feeling the emotion of the beauty of all of creation. I literally remember feeling, God, this is so beautiful. And I had all those ingredients blending together, and I'm sure hormones had something to do with it.
Yeah.
Because there's some, anyway, it's another story. But something happened that literally, I remember looking up and feeling like I was pulled to another reality.
Oh.
Kind of like my dream, where it was so real.
Vivid.
But it instead of fear or we call sometimes going into that spirit world going into the wobble, and you get confused.
Ooh, I've never heard of it like that.
Yeah,
Going into the wobble.
Yeah, because you're wobbling, because you're vibrating at a very high intensity. But I was, again, these are important ingredients: the music, the rhythm, the movement, and the emotion.
And then the surroundings and everything.
So those four ingredients started to blend, and I got pulled into a different reality that brought me such joy that my mind suddenly decided that I wanted to figure that out, and so I popped right back out.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that
So once you brought reality into it,
it froze it.
it couldn't keep it.
Yeah,
Couldn't-
right. So so I did not know how to sustain it. Okay, so
Now, you hadn't been on your mission yet at this time.
no. But here, that one drop of
The
sacred
wobble.
ecstasy messed up my whole life.
The man of... I don't know if it's messed it up.
No. I
You've
mean,
been
it's
chasing
improved.
it ever
like,
since.
it's like
It's
drug.
that's his
I
purple
am-
dragon.
no. I'm a spiritual addict. I mean, that really, like, what the hell was that?
So when you went on your Mormon mission after this experience, was that done because you're a good young Mormon boy and you're going to have to, or was that done seeking more of that, or a blend of both?
I think it was a blend of both. It was mostly duty. I mean, I wasn't a scholar by all means, by any means. I liked to play. I enjoyed sports and friendship and hunting. Oh, I was a hunting fool, fishing. So, I mean, I got the MTC and read about the first vision. I'm like, whoa, Joseph Smith saw God?
Yeah.
No, that's how naive I was. And but I was called to South Africa, and
Now, I'll bet that was an awesome mission to go on.
it was actually incredible. Yeah.
And I do know down on the northern edge of South Africa, there's some of those ancient, or those, I don't know how old they are, but they're Palomayambe and what are those other African but Palomayambe can get pretty interesting with how they like to use human body parts as talismans.
Well, there's a lot of interesting
But
religion, but
that's not just in Africa. They've
in
got those
Africa.
religions everywhere, you know.
Yeah, but
it's
we're-
just some of them have kind of been scrubbed from
I'll
society.
tell you a secret, though. We're all from Africa.
Well, yes, we are.
we all have
We're all from the.
we all have genes of
Oh yeah,
of color.
Well, okay, you guys all do. The Neanderthal was probably.
From the other direction.
I don't know where the Neanderthals come from, but where they found my ancestors was in Germany, Austria area.
So yeah, I mean, doctrine aside, because I'm not into the doctrinal side of things as much. I did have some experiences there where I felt a relationship with Jesus, and that changed my life. And I've never, that's never left me. That was just indelible on my soul. And so when I got back from my mission, I loved it, and I just fell in love with the people. And in Africa, it feels different. It just feels different than America. England feels different. Hungary, but Africa is just so ancient, and it just crackles with almost like electricity, especially when you get out into the bush. It just like literally crackles, and I didn't know about that part yet. So I get home, and the important thing about that is I get home and I want to go back. Like I was home. I was sick to go back. I wanted to go back. So I remember a prayer I said, Lord, please send me back. I didn't know how or what means, but just send me back to Africa. Mm-hmm. And I'll leave it at that. That's the story of
You just just needed it.
So
Well, and I imagine, and Africa, I do want to go to Africa. I want to see all of Africa. Now, there's some places, obviously, right now is not a good idea for me to see, but I would like to go there. I want to see up in that, just right inside, kind of south of the Horn, where they've got kind of that crater lake up there. I want to see that. I want to see South Africa. I want to see the Congo, and they're dangerous places, not just from other people, but I don't know.
It's changed a lot in the last 20.
See, and when I travel, I never think of places to go. I want to see people. That's why I want to spend 3 months in specific places so you get to know the people.
Yeah.
The places I can see online and you can, see pictures of them and stuff. But I want to see the people. I want to hang out with the people.
Okay.
So that's what I would want to do is visit.
I fell in love with the people.
Small little villages and kind of see the
I also
the
fell
culture.
in love with giraffe.
With the giraffe?
Yeah, I the first time I saw a giraffe.
Or all.
Well, he is a tall guy.
I don't know if I'll get into that experience with the giraffe, but I did. It took my breath away the first time I saw a giraffe.
Yeah.
It running next to our vehicle,
Like in the wild,
they're
not in the zoo.
Yeah, they're not in cages. We are. We're driving down the road in a vehicle, and these giraffes are just running, and it literally, takes your breath away. And it was never my favorite animal, but I connected with a giraffe in a slightly mystical way. I wouldn't call it mystical then, but I do now because it's still got that connection.
Maybe a bit of a spirit animal type.
Something.
I mean, my spirit animal.
You can call it what you want, but
my spirit animal is baby pygmy goats in pajamas.
I'm with you.
I'm
with you. I've been trying to talk Cody into some for a long time now, actually.
Baby.
Yeah, I just want pygmy goats in pajamas. What's a girl got to do?
No, that's
pygmy
that's
goats
a spirit animal
in
right there.
pajamas.
Yeah. They just dance and some of them.
Yeah, I hear you can actually do yoga with those.
I'm sure Ken, though I have seen pictures of people doing yoga with cats.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah.
So where was your first, what was the first time that you broke free and was like, I'm going to go study this to try and find that?
It's funny. I knew early on that I wanted to be a physical therapist. I knew healing, being with people. Actually, I started working out as a 19-year-old kid, like a lot of them do at the gym just to get muscles and show off. But I actually got really into the feeling of, wow, this really does something good for the body. And that's when I didn't even know physical therapy existed back then. But I knew I wanted to help people somehow with this fitness.
Mechanics
of it, exactly. Yeah. And so I learned about physical therapy, and that's all I wanted to do. And so it literally drew me into studies after mission, and I was actually a lot better at studying after my mission than I was in high school.
Well, and on your mission,
focused.
isn't there studying through the book every day?
Sure.
So that probably was another muscle that you worked out on your mission.
Yeah, focus of the mind is extremely important. And so, again, we took the primary cornerstone of religion or the gospel, and we focused on that for 2 years. And that can be tremendously resourceful for any topic.
Well, that's true.
Sure.
Yeah.
You learned probably some recollection abilities, some abilities just to sit down and give an hour to something that maybe isn't a entertaining indulgence, where you can give an hour to entertainment easy, but an hour to steady focus is probably.
But going back to the crossroads, I literally it was easier on a mission because you had that focus to always come back to the crossroads and choose thy will be done.
Sure.
So that was a great resource for me in my early years. And then I went into graduate school at Northern Arizona University and got a master's degree in physical therapy. That was before we were even doctors.
Yeah. Now is that Northern Arizona close to what is it, Sonora?
It's the largest ponderosa pine forest in the, it's the...
or is it in Flagstaff?
Flagstaff.
So you're pretty close to Sonora, so I imagine...
Sedona?
Or Sedona.
Sedona,
yeah. That's got I hear a feel to it when you're down there, too.
That's like the Devil's Triangle in reverse.
Oh, so it's the how would you say devils?
There's several places.
Sliveds.
There's several places in the world that have that kind of lines. Japanese would call it seiki lines.
And here are they called ley lines?
Ley lines. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sedona
Yeah.
has them. Maui.
Sedona's I did a retreat in Sedona. It was
Sedona's absolutely gorgeous.
it was amazing.
But it's infested with
Hippies.
neo,
Oh,
new age.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gobbledygook.
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, but are they providing any kind of help? Because if they're providing any, then I'm fine with them.
I'm fine with them. Let's just say there's a lot of different realities out there, and it just depends on which one you want to follow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say it's probably a mixed bag. Some are providing, some are just taking
some,
money.
Some, most, if not all, lead to dead ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean by horizontal lines. Like the crossroads have a vertical and a horizontal.
Okay.
So you can choose to go horizontal if you want, or you can choose to go vertical.
So the crossroads isn't a fork in the road. It's a. Are you going to go straight on the horizontal path, or are you going to elevate?
It's Jesus in the wilderness,
Okay.
where Lucifer comes and says, you know,
All right.
I can give you all this. I can give you all this power. You know,
Yeah, I
just
can
fall
make
down
you
and-
the king of
So it's-
king of armies. I can make people fall at your knees and
I mean,
worship.
it
What
could
else
be.
did
I
he
could
tell
give you
him?
this Twinkie. Just follow
Oh
me.
shit! I would have tripped over
shit.
myself.
No, seriously,
Man,
Yeah,
if he ever shows up and says, "Have I got a deal for you?" and he slides a Twinkie out of his pocket,
But it happens every day, right?
I'm gonna
Jared skips off with
I'm gonna
him.
be changed by that hellhound for 7 years.
It happens every day, and we choose something.
It's for some of us multiple times a day.
Yeah, every minute.
Like,
Yeah, I need the every hour, every
Yes.
second, every minute.
yes.
That's why I don't have Twinkies in this house.
I
Remove all
need thee.
temptation.
Oh, Twinkie, I need thee.
Hey, I'm telling you, what can you say? They're damn near perfect.
Terrible.
They're so soft and gooey in the
Yeah.
middle. Come on.
And that
My husband loves them.
that
I can count on
frosting.
one hand the number of times I've consumed a Twinkie. They're disgusting.
Did we get off track? Did we just suddenly go horizontal?
we did. Oh, this show will do that a little bit. All right, so elevate us.
So where was your first experience? How did you How did you just one morning decide I'm going to go study this? And how did you decide?
So
Because a lot of us are
was-
in that spot.
I was way too serious when I got home from my mission. As a
They all
21.
are.
Really? Mm-hmm.
I mean, I knew everything about life.
You have buddies that leave and go on a mission, and they're cool and laid back, and they come back, and you think that they turned them into a drill
Okay,
sergeant.
you may not like to hear this, but I gave up hunting. I gave up fishing. No, seriously, I couldn't kill anything anymore. Mm-hmm. And I nothing against hunting and fishing. I have a lot of fond memories of that, and I still get thrilled seeing a buck and
Oh yeah.
or an eagle.
Well, it's okay, and I'm fine with you giving it up because
but it leaves more
for me.
I'll still eat it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Give me the tenderloin. But anyway, to answer your question, is I was way too serious, which means I studied a lot, and I knew what I wanted. I was going for that PT degree, and getting married and having a family and things, traditional way of doing things. But I was on a spiritual plateau. I didn't feel like I was growing as like I wanted to. And so I literally, to picture a metaphor of a plateau, climbing up a mountain and staying on the flat top, and then you can't get down because it's a little too steep, and so you're stuck. And so I remember very clearly a prayer I uttered, and the words don't really matter, but in this particular moment, I did pray for a rope. metaphorically, to get me off the plateau. And I didn't want to go down. I
Yeah,
wanted
because
to go up.
what's down?
Right. I mean, yeah, I could have tumbled down or slid down.
Sure.
But I wanted to go up. But I was at the end of my existential space spiritually.
Oh.
And I just literally, God sent me a rope. And that prayer was significant because years later, I learned of the rope to God by a shaman, a teacher who is still very near and dear to me, Bradford Keeney. But we'll get there when we get there. But that answer to your question is I said a prayer, and
that started you down that.
Yeah. It was interesting because if you've grown flowers, grown gardens, you know that you can't force something to grow or open up, but you got to nurture it, and it was like a flower suddenly just slowly opening up. I literally felt like something was opening inside me that was beyond my control. And that's when I felt my hands warming up, tingling when I would,
So you got a kind of a physical reaction.
I would touch people. I would hold, work on their necks or their backs, and I'd like, God, why are my hands so hot?
So that we hear that with Reiki a lot. That
Reiki healing.
When they're doing, is it Reiki?
Reiki.
No, I had no training in this. I was a science. I'm still kind of a science nerd, but I was mechanical,
Mm-hmm.
and so
You just
feeling
didn't
something
understand
going
it.
on in my hands, like, oh, what is this, circulation? They're actually red.
You're going in to
That
see
is
the
so
doctor.
common with Reiki healing.
Yeah. And the reaction to my patients would be like they would calm down. They would just they would close their eyes and just I'd start moving their head and neck in spontaneous ways. And I mean, there were times where I'd put my hands on their backs, and all of a sudden they'd just do an adjustment.
I'll tell
pop.
you. I will tell you. Off the record, I've been to chiropractors. Their adjustments are generally a
Mechanical.
ex-football player twisting you. But if you want your back adjusted, you go to Troy. And
I did not ask him to say that.
He rolls up a towel and lays it somewhere and says, "Lay on this now. Let me see your pinky finger." And he pulls your pinky finger, and your back goes
Boom.
straight. And you're like, so you weren't wrestled. Seriously, last time I went to a chiropractor, the guy, I'm not a little guy. He outweighed me by 100 pounds, and he tackled me on a chair. And I go to Troy, and it's so effortless when he gets your back to straighten out.
Mm-hmm.
It's effortless. It's amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing me because I had no idea what was going on. And so my inquisitive mind would say, okay, what is this? And of course my context was Jesus.
Mm.
Sure.
And he was a healer. And there's stories of
I'm being faithful. I've done all the
touched my robe?
things.
Well, you're walking through a crowd. I mean, everyone's touching your robe. No, someone touched my robe because I felt virtue leaving me. And it was the woman of faith who had a blood disorder, and she was healed just by touching. But something transferred to her and made her whole. And so I started thinking about that. The only literature that I could find that other than Holy Spirit was the Eastern religions and their concept of chi or life force or ki, and so that's kind of an unfolding of my healing journey is one, the prayer, two, the feeling of something was going on, something turning on inside me that I had no
As you're
control
helping
over.
people,
No control over.
without intent, you start
Yeah.
doing
And
more positive healing.
I could tell that what I knew mechanically was working, based on science. Something else was mysteriously happening that I could not explain, but my mind wanted to wrap a meaning around. That's trickster, but
Yeah.
we'll
But we haven't gotten to the
there. We haven't
trickster
got
yet.
to trickster yet. But anyway, it's funny. I'm in a bookstore one time, Barnes and Noble, I believe, and I'm looking in the kind of the self-help area, and I see this Path Notes of an American Ninja Master. You can see that right there.
Oh, can I see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
And it kind of jumped out on me, but I thumbed through it, and chapter 3 is talks about a word I didn't even know. I had no idea. Now, granted, this is probably 19. I mean, I barely had a computer at this point. Google hadn't even started yet.
you're still on AOL.
Yeah, I still remember. Yeah, yeah. You got mail, and I did. I got mail, and this was delivered.
So the Kundalini.
The Kundalini experience, and so I thought, what is that? And so I started reading it, and it just, of course, I bought the book and had to go meet the author.
Mm-hmm.
If I felt something strong enough, I would seek the author out. And so told my wife at the time.
You know, when I do that, I feel something and go seek the author out, and I'm being arrested. And there's charges. It's never good.
But he was teaching at the time, and of course, Kundalini involves the spine, and I'm a spine specialist. I treat
Sure.
people
Yeah.
back. And so
You are the ninja master
I told my
of
wife
spines.
at the time I was going to a spine course.
Did
The logic checks out.
Okay.
I was way too embarrassed and afraid to say, I'm going to go learn about Kundalini.
Where you had to, this is off the wall question, but where you had to use tricksterism on your wife, did that in any way soil the experience?
Well, it was a spine course.
That's what I said. The logic checks out.
It
Kundalini,
does, absolutely.
Yeah.
Kundalini is a latent energy that keeps us alive. But there are ways to actually activate the coiled serpent that resides in the lower area, in the sacrum or the sacred area. And as it opens up, it rises up the spine. And as it does so, it passes through the nerve plexi of, to use Western medicine, solar plexus, cardiac plexus, thyroid, all the way up into the brain, to rejuvenate and clean out everything that is held there somatically by your body and your organs. If it happens too quickly, it can kill you.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you do it slow?
You really want to get it out? Well, the reason why
I'm gonna have to read this.
You know
book.
what? I think let's cover the over. But I would like to see if we can't host some. I think you could become an instructor local here.
I've taught classes before, and couched in the language of stress management, which is very needed. And
oh no, come on,
anxiety management. But no, back to the Kundalini is. I knew something was happening to me, and I didn't know who to turn to. Again, this was before Google. You couldn't even search Kundalini. I mean, maybe something.
Yeah,
would
who
come
would
up.
you ask about that?
And so I found this guy. And I sometimes I don't know how I found him, but he was teaching a class in Denver, and I went, and it was at first quite bizarre, but I felt something like just and it's going into a dojo, because he was the Grand Master of his lineage now. And so we taught about the Kundalini rising, how to allow that energy to rise up. And that's the secret of the masters that he talks about in his book.
Harnessing their own power.
Well, it's not really your own. It's part of your home. It's the divine nature in you.
Wow.
And but that can get tricky because it comes in many different forms. It can come as a fierce goddess, named Kali, or someone benevolent and compassionate like Kuan Yin.
Is that a choice, do you think, or is that
you can? Well, it was a choice for me to pursue it, and I'll tell you after that seminar, I didn't drink Red Bull or anything like that before, but I was bouncing off. I was just literally driving down the road, just totally
Wired.
Yeah, like I had a 6-pack of Red Bull, seriously, but I was clean. I was totally clean. I didn't even drink coffee or anything.
So did they show you at this seminar some of the practices to?
Oh, yeah.
So it was like not just he didn't just talk about it. It was more like instruction.
It was very instructional. Yeah.
Very cool. Is it something common with the ninja culture to study?
All your
that?
all your grandmasters would have and they wouldn't call it Kundalini. They call it different. Kundalini is actually Hindu, or
okay.
mostly Eastern, and in parts of what's the other one? Anyway, Hindu and Buddhism. Yeah, Buddhism.
Well, Buddhism is a branch off of
Kundalini,
Hindu.
Tantra, and so forth. But they would call it opening up the greater Khan and Li.
Okay.
Or
but it is a practice that they learn and try to perfect.
Yeah, and it's it would be if you put an element to it, it would be fire, because it's rising, it's expanding, and I mean, people were just moving and shaking and moving spontaneously, and that's when my body started to feel different. Like I started doing the practices, and back up to my mission, I fell off an ostrich going 30 miles an hour.
So the ostrich is going slow, huh?
Okay.
That was my first teacher.
An
Why
ostrich
were you
will
on
kick
an
your
ostrich?
butt. Because you're in South Africa.
Because I was
They
I was
are
on an off
terrifying
day.
giant birds.
On an off day that we could do anything we wanted.
Okay,
and we were 19-year-old.
Birds are not her spirit animal. She got bit on the cheek by an emu when she was a baby. Party ended.
No. I mean, no. I to this day I wouldn't recommend getting on an ostrich.
Now, did they start out with the sock on its head?
No. I literally
You just
got
jumped
on
on the ding thing?
Well, it was in a gate, just like quarter horse race, and they can beat a quarter horse.
Oh, yes, they can, and then they can beat you.
So yeah, it did.
Ostriches, if an ostrich kicks you,
I rode it far enough to get a picture, hey, and then I started to slide off, and I knew if I held on, I would pull it down with me. So I just fell off, and I fell on my sacrum. Oh yeah, my sacrum, the sacral plexus, the nerves that go to the bladder, and luckily I didn't lose that, but I got injured. And his strong legs, which can kick a hole through a car door.
They kill humans with their kick.
Yes.
Easy.
And it kicked me in the shins. Oh. And so I'm spinning in the dirt. Okay. Now, this is the 80s. This is Michael Jackson era. Breakdancing had not yet been.
You may have been the first one.
So that's the rest of the story. Is breakdancing actually originated in Africa?
Yeah, in Africa by
a person that fell off an ostrich.
a white missionary doing a tailspin in the dirt.
And that is how we will remember breakdancing.
So let's jump forward now.
Shirley's asking the name of that book. So it's called Path Notes of an American Ninja Master.
We'll put it in our show notes.
It's an interesting book.
Yeah, it's by Glenn Morris, and we will cover up Troy's face with it real quick.
There it is. Hey, all you WOW podcast listeners. If you didn't know, our network is growing. If you like a more local and regional feel, or if you are more interested in politics and current events, subscribe to the other show on our network, the Tooele Happy Hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it will be in the show notes.
He was a really interesting fella. He was,
Yeah.
He was, and he turned. You know, he was a professor. He has a double PhD, so he was smart, and he was a ninja. So he liked to beat people up. But when his Kundalini hit him, it ruined his marriage for one. And it nearly killed him for
So
two.
it's a bad thing?
So he went too fast. Remember, you go
too
fast.
fast.
Okay, so how did it ruin his marriage?
The energy shot up his spine, and it got blocked where he'd got hit in the head so many times, and so it caused pain, physical pain. Now here's a lesson for people that may be looking for answers that no doctor can tell you. I have met people, because when I meet them, I just know that something's going on,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes it causes pain. I mean, it rewired me. I went vegetarian for 2 years.
Well, yeah. So okay, we're going back.
What was I? I went horizontal.
Yeah, you got hit in your
Sacrum.
In your sacrum. What's your sacrum? Isn't that right down around the keister, like kind of the pinpoint of the bottom?
It's that triangular bone between the two pelvis bones.
Yeah, so it's your perineum. It's the taint.
That's lower. That's the $1 million
Oh,
point.
it's lower?
That's another story. Oh!
So anyway, so you got hurt there. Now, did finding the Kundalini and opening that up, was that a part of?
He taught me a sitting meditation style that was absolutely beautiful. It's just and this one I could teach, and because it's preparation for opening this up. But what was interesting for me was I would stand also and do the qigong. He called it the qigong practices. But my body would tremble, and especially around my injury, it would just like it was shaking things loose, like literally, like get better. And it literally eventually broke through some of those injured tissues. I had back pain for 10 years.
Yeah, which is another reason why
I was limping on my first job as a physical therapist.
Isn't that kind of part of the reason why you became a spine specialist?
Absolutely. That and the esoteric studies of spine.
Well, and you are hands down, I mean, top of the line spine specialist.
There's other people that have great manual skills, and there's great physical therapists. In Tooele, we're fortunate to have a wonderful group of physical therapists. Yeah. I'm different. I see things very quickly now in the body, and like I can see it in seconds. Like, oh, you need this, or oh, you need this, and I don't want to say it's that easy to fix, because it takes work. It takes diligence with certain consistent things, and that's why some of the exercises in this book are simple. They're easy to do, but most people won't do them. So, I did do them. I was religious.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
And then you became a missionary for it.
But it literally cleared out my energy, or the stuck energy around my injury. And eventually that energy rose, and it came. Oh man. One morning I was studying and meditating with this, and it overtook me. I literally had to lie down on the floor, because I could just feel something wanting to move. And at that point, trickster mind, visionary experience, I literally saw a snake coming across the floor, a snake.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that snake. Yeah. Did you get the metaphor?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
the snake
was
testing you for colon cancer.
Exactly. I got
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the 55-year-old test.
Yeah.
And then it went all the way up to about my heart center and then stopped. Whew, I just felt it.
So your injury felt better at that time.
It cleaned it. It just cured it.
Okay, and it stopped at like a natural stopping point up by your heart.
I was stuck here.
Oh, you were stuck there. So you had some more work to do.
More work to do.
On.
If it would have opened up all the way, I probably would have lost my mind. Seriously,
Okay.
Because I was already losing my mind. I mean, what grounded me was my family and my job. And my prayers. Lord, I got to go to work today. Please just spare me. And then at night I'd lie down in bed and man, everything would happen.
So you were kind of in kind of a juxtaposition life at the time where you're kind of drifting between I don't want to say they're, yeah, I don't want to say they're two different mythologies or two different religions, where you've got praying to the God you grew up with and experiencing this next kind of esoteric thing, but it is kind of a difference in you're asking for help here and meditating for relief on the other side.
Yeah, prayer was my source. I'd go right to the source of inspiration and creativity. I knew my bishop wouldn't understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
At that point,
that would have been probably a rough conversation.
They
might have.
That's another story. That came about when I went to Africa for the second time. But we'll get there.
Okay, we'll get there.
Because that was, yeah.
So beyond this, did your wife at the time ask you, like, how was the spine clinic when you got home?
Yeah, and where'd you hide the book?
And I'm my first marriage didn't last. I wouldn't say that this was the
I was going to
reason.
say it cost him his.
Yeah, it did, because he couldn't have sex. It hurt him too much. The energy would bolt up his spine and nail him in the.
Did he know it was from the?
Yeah, and his wife just thought he was having an affair or something.
Thought that he,
but it,
or that he didn't like her anymore, or whatever.
Yeah, you know how
emotions.
Whatever
come in.
insecurity.
I mean, I don't know about that, but I have heard.
Yeah, in my case, I had a wonderful family life. I was wanting for more intimacy and connection, and I think that actually helped me in a way. It became a resource because I that was my fuel for prayer. And when the Kundalini came alive, I didn't need anything else. Nothing. I mean, I was in bliss and ecstasy almost all the time.
So you kind of reached a state of nirvana.
I claim nothing other than I'm an idiot. No, really. I mean, I have experiences, but it's not about claiming anything.
Well, yeah, you don't want to put a name to it.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm telling you what's in the book, or the steps I took, or with my experiences, because a lot of cultures call it so many different things. But the interesting thing is, it all has a common.
It's all the same.
It all has a common
the
element.
procedure's the same. It's just their languages is different.
Language is different.
Yeah.
And that's the tricky part of language. That's part of trickster, is language is tricky. And that's why you get into arguments, that's why you get into wars, and that's why you kill people over religion.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Religion or
sad
words or
yeah.
Yeah.
We won't go there.
Yeah.
Don't say it.
You'll summon the next level.
Oh
of
yeah,
Jumanji.
let's keep this expanding. Let's keep the fire burning. Let's get around and you got some marshmallows, some s'mores. Let's get some s'mores.
Oh man, I need to get s'mores. That sounds good.
Twinkie s'mores.
Oh,
Give me some more Twinkies.
yeah. There's going to be a Twinkie box in here next time you come in.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's your elant.
So what after this? You went home. You kind
yeah.
of practiced it for a while, and then did you feel like that was you kind of plateaued with it?
I mean, a lot of things happen once the Kundalini rises. Once something opens up, it's forever changes you. I mean, psychically, I mean, mentally, my whole world changed. My perception changed. I couldn't figure out why what I believed before just kind of just loosened
Faded.
up. Yeah, I wasn't reading anything to counter it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It just kind of dissolved. I'm like, why don't I believe that anymore? I thought, that's interesting. The only thing that remained with me is the sweetness of, I'm a child of God, or
Sure.
Jesus loves me. No, seriously, that's the only thing that remained. And but one night, this was a turning point. Was I was asleep, and I actually woke up. I sat up in bed immediately because I heard a voice. And I thought there was an intruder in the house, and I had kids at home, and of course, you want to protect your family, so I'm like listening really carefully, and the voice came again, and then I went into the wobble. I got
Grab
confused.
the mic just a little bit there.
I got confused. I went into the wobble.
So you went from hearing this voice being spooked out that maybe you've got an intruder in the house,
Absolutely.
and then you drifted into the wobble or into
The confusion.
Yeah, the confusion,
Yeah.
the upside down.
Just like that dream. What are all these cars and RVs doing in the juniper trees? And then realizing that, I'm dreaming. But I suddenly realized, this is a voice from the other side. Like what? And it didn't say a lot. It just told me to do something.
Yeah.
Basically, go pray.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. In a summarized, changing form, it said, go pray.
Yeah, go have communion.
But you
with the
And it
high.
was
recognized that this was from the other
It wasn't
side.
an intruder. It was an invitation.
Mm.
And it was 3 a.m, so I'm like, I got to work in the morning. And so I'll sleep for another hour, but I couldn't sleep. And I finally got up about 4, and I went down into my den where I would study and meditate. And I just did what I was told. And I've never told this story publicly. Something marvelous happened. Let's just say that something. A ball of light came, and I saw things, and it was interaction, a relationship with what I saw, and basically it told me to own what I was denying, and that was that I'm a healer. Because I at the beginning I never really claimed that I was a healer. I still shy away from that word,
that title.
Yeah, because you got to own that. That's something. And I still, no, it's the science. It's a higher power that's working through me. But I had friends that always said, you're a healer, you're a healer, you're a healer. And but this voice in the night, and then the subsequent vision was a turning point.
How old were you at this time?
I was in my 30s.
Pretty young.
Yeah, I was in my 30s. But that just put fuel on the fire. I mean, I will say this, that the vision had an Egyptian motif.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Back to Amun Ra.
And, I'd never studied Egyptian mythology. I think it was probably asleep in school when we did that. I don't even know if we learned it in school.
We were all asleep during that.
But so I'm looking on the internet. What the heck is this
symbolism.
the symbolism
yeah.
mean. And of course, you see the priests and priestesses with the cobra sticking out the head, and the wings, and
They were perfecting being healers in that time frame, in that period.
They had technology.
They went from kind of separate tribes and had all come together and were perfecting being healers in.
And I don't pretend to even understand it, even to this day. I appreciate more the mystery of it.
Sure.
And having a relationship with mystery rather than trying to freeze the form.
Yeah.
And
Pick it apart.
And kill it with words.
Maybe that's what killed the
wobble.
Killed the.
It does. You got it. It killed the wobble.
Well,
it's
maybe,
just no different than a performer on a stage, and thinking, "How am I doing?"
Yes.
And then you lose. Cut.
Yeah.
You lose your genuineness. You lose that.
Yeah. It's me on the bow of the boat, all of a sudden, just like pulled out of the experience because my mind wanted to grasp at it. It wanted to grasp at it and put meaning to it.
Yeah.
That's kind of a cool takeaway. Don't kill your wobble.
Yeah. My teachers would always
Don't
say
look
that,
into it. Just take it as it is.
Yeah.
Embrace the gift.
Enjoy the ride.
Michael Jordan was a master. He was always a step ahead of his opponents.
Oh yeah.
True.
Oh yeah.
If
True.
you read his last shot in 1994 against the Utah Jazz,
Mm-hmm.
he knew where Karl Malone was. He knew where John Stockton was. And in his book, I Love the Game or something like that, he talks about how he was one step ahead of everybody. And that's why he was so good. He knew Brian Russell was going to go this way, and he just did his
just stayed in the
fundamentals,
wobble.
jump shot, stayed in the wobble, and beat the Utah
Gosh,
Jazz.
I wonder, that's an unfair advantage.
It is. Well, you know what? We all have this capability inside.
Yeah.
And,
I wonder how many, Michael Phelps.
But
is he spending time,
Well, it's interesting, nobody could sneak up on me. There was some weird things that started happening. They've calmed down. I'm not that weird anymore.
So you had a bit of intuition that was brought with it.
Well, a heightened sense.
Yeah, and a heightened sense of a lot of things. I mean, this is where the horizontal lines start showing up. Horizontal lines for our listeners are, going back to the crossroads and these enticements of power or
It's the Twinkie decision.
It's the Twinkie decision.
Yeah.
Do I chase these?
Do you want material
Yeah,
or do
exactly.
you want spiritual?
Do I want the trinkets and the power, or do I surrender to the highest source? And that is the crossroads. That's the decision that you have to make. And I was too young to really know. I mean, I still love Jesus, and so I always, Jesus, is this the right thing, or whatever. But I would still end up going into different areas of study just for my own mind to understand, and I want to know how that Twinkie tastes.
Yeah, but it seems like you always brought Jesus in there with you, so you never gave up on him to go there.
He let me swing pretty horizontal on the vertical rope.
Yeah, yeah. He sent you the rope, and you hopped on it.
Yeah. Back to that spiritual.
Started
plateau.
doing the Tarzan yell as you swung across.
Yeah. So, in my meditations, I started to see this. I was just seeing a lot of different things. I mean, visionary experiences, dreams.
Do you think that those were part of your journey, or do you think those were more temptation for that horizontal?
It's all.
Or is it?
Again,
those coincide?
temptation. It's all about choice. It's all about who you're going to choose. It's all about that primary cornerstone you want for your reality. But a lot of things start showing up. And,
sure.
Speaking of goblins and so forth, I mean, I was seeing spirits. Those. It's. They just come. But
now, it's seeing
you
spirits.
were so past tense.
Now, were the spirits teachers, or were they people that were
Yeah.
known to you, or was it just random spirits?
Here's the thing. If I remember, I have Jesus on the main line.
Mm-hmm.
That's important because it gives you a little bit better nose or smell.
And it probably even helps. So even when you're choosing a horizontal,
Yeah, you can.
it's not one of the really bad.
You can
numbers.
discern whether or not you should seek this out, or
It's a Twinkie, not the whole box, or not
Should I-
eating a Hostess factory.
should I have this turkey sandwich or the Twinkie? You know, it's the quality of the life force. Kundalini is a purity,
Okay.
and so you don't want to dilute that with lower vibratory
Sure.
experiences.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
But it's going to pull you in all directions, just like life. I mean, I'm no different than everybody else.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No different.
Yeah,
my story is not unique. Everyone has a journey.
Well,
And it's
I mean, your story is very unique, but I think everyone's story is unique. But some people's, your story is more unique, I should say. And that's mostly because you sought out.
It's because of your choices.
You sought out understanding of this, where a lot of people might seek out, material attainment or
maybe a lot of people stop
relationship gratification, or
on that horizontal line, you know?
you get. Let's just say I got more than I deserve. Literally, I got. You couldn't put a price to what I was experiencing. If someone asked, "Here's $1 million in fame," I'd say no.
Well, you had touched a
I want that one drop.
something
that I
more
felt
for you
on the bow of the boat.
Yeah.
That's all I want. Is just give me that one drop
Now,
again.
going back to that, do you think that experience was brought on just by Pine View, the music, the hormones, the girl on the boat, the waves, or do you think maybe there's something in you that has that natural receptiveness?
It cannot be as simple as all of your five senses.
No, it's not. But it's those 4 ingredients you just mentioned: movement, rhythm, emotion, sacred emotion, especially. That's the most important, and song or tone.
Yeah. A friend of mine teaches Goya.
Yeah.
And that's what that is. It's
Isn't
just
that a type of bean,
if you
or
know how to
berry?
blend-
dancing.
Yeah, if you know how to blend those ingredients, it literally turns something on in your body, and that gets you into the wobble. And this the wobble is a metaphor that my
Sure.
teachers received in an inspired dream.
I love it.
Yeah, but it's literally what happens with mystics when you go from our everyday reality into a prayer that's heated up, that's warm, that's felt, and has those ingredients. I got surprised into it just because I was doing that.
So, I'm asking, do you think maybe you had a natural affinity that was brought there, that brought you in there?
You're a healer.
You know,
I mean, you were a healer then. You just
I
didn't
have
know.
I have no idea. I'm just grateful.
I think I think you must have a natural affinity for it, whether it's
I claim no title or
a chemical addition in utero or a childhood experience, because I felt
You're trying to science it.
I'm giving it a name. Stop, Jared. Stop.
Well, I mean, you look at my teachers, and there's titles that, I claim no title. It's because if you meet a shaman, a true, real shaman, not one you meet on a weekend workshop, they will blow your mind. They will they're so creative and so brilliant, and because the inspiration is coming from the other side, and they may be musicians, they may have a song, they may have rhythm, they have be a dancer, but they're healers, all of them, and they don't just heal physical ailments, but they they work with you on a spiritual level, and they'll change your life. When I was meditating, praying, I kept seeing this blue-eyed person, and had no idea. And in hindsight, that happened again and again. I'd see somebody in my visions or prayers, my imagination, call it what you will, and then they'd show up in my life. Well, this blue-eyed person, I knew he was of this earth, kept showing up, and sure enough, I met this guy. He was living in Sedona at the time. His name was Max Christensen, and he came from a Taoist tradition, and he taught an awakening method called the Kunlun method. Kunlun is a mountain range in China, and he, since 6 years old, got struck by lightning. And anyway, his story is pretty interesting. But I felt the pull to go train with him, and over the course of 7 or 8 years, I was apprenticing with Max and learned the Kunlun method of opening up, which is a downward water path. So I was heating up with fire, but I was also learning how to cool down with water. It's a very peaceful, very blissful way of opening up. So that was kind of my next thing was learning Kunlun, and learning how to turn on the energetic light body inside. And again, people call it different things. You could call it your little dog, your little me, or your, there's a big me and a little me. Big me, ego me.
Mm-hmm.
The id. And
yeah, all that Freud stuff. But anyway, or the little child of God that's sweet and tender, that gets more tender as you get older because you get wiser and you don't know shit.
Yeah.
Really?
You realize how little you do know.
Yeah. So anyway, that was my next step in the healing journey. Was more let's turn this up internally to learn the techniques, and interestingly though, that sort of kind of turned me horizontal. Yeah.
By studying with him, it made you more material.
Well, they never talked about Jesus.
Oh.
Jesus was on my main line, and so
also Taoism is a faith without a creator.
It's just living in harmony with the Tao, which is a name for something that cannot be named. It's the ineffable mystery, which I think is a beautiful
Sure.
philosophy. But but it's also a way of life. It's not, don't just read a book. You got to go out there in the juniper trees
and Taoism was meditated into existence to stop the fightings of other religion in ancient imperial China.
And Max, here's Max. Max came from the Mao Shan lineage, and you don't mess with the Mao Shan lineage. They were the ones that would fight internally at night and destroy their opponents without lifting a sword.
Say the name of this book. The
Kunlun method.
System, the path of inner alchemy leading to the truth within. Oh, I've got to read all of these tonight, or I'm not sleeping.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll hold this
Anyway,
one.
there's the blue-eyed
and a younger Troy.
There's the blue-eyed teacher that I met in my prayers.
That you saw first in your prayers.
Yeah, and his
Did you
eyes were so blue
recognize
because
him right away?
Yeah.
Did you tell him?
Yeah, my friend actually introduced him to me. He said, "You got to meet this Max," because he was into ninjutsu, and he comes from a whole line of different shaman and Eastern ways, and he's a martial artist and phenomenal teacher. I mean, his when he opened up, he could talk with PhDs, and he just understands. You can't. That's how mystical teachers are. They just know things because their wisdom eye opens up, and they're connected to the Akashic records and so forth. and it just the knowledge just comes down when they need it. You can't baffle them. That's you don't even have to ask a question. You just have to think it. You could think of a Twinkie, and they would give you a Twinkie.
Oh, well, I'm
Jared.
down.
Is his
I'm already
address in
struggling
here?
with my weight, but I'm leaving meeting them a fat bastard. I'll tell you what.
Yeah. So anyway, my stint with Max was very fond. Remember going into.
I could see how it would be kind of horizontal without a greater creator. Or
Well,
without
he got into different things like aliens and
Oh, don't say, James.
Arcturians
Calm down,
and
James.
things like that.
Octarians, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
the
but
Octarians they're a protector alien species, aren't they? Like a lurker?
I know nothing.
I don't know.
So did that send you down a whole different path?
I don't want to say a whole different path because remember I'm holding on to Jesus' main line, but I swung way out, and so much so that I mean let's back up. Let's go a little bit forward because at the same time I met him, a friend of mine kept saying, you know, you're a healer, you're a healer, you're a healer, before the visionary experience that called me as a healer, but she said, you got to read this book. You have to read this book. Okay. And this one was called Bushman, Shaman. Bushmen are in Africa.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, okay, hey, I like Africa.
I'm going to Africa.
Yeah.
And so
did that break your heart when they said you're going to Africa to learn this?
So this one's Bushman, Shaman, Awakening the Spirit Through Ecstatic Dance. Wow.
Yeah, so I started reading that. I remember getting home from work, plopping down on the couch with my family. My wife was probably watching some game show, and I'm reading Bushman Shaman. I wanted to spend time with my family. I love my family dearly.
The other.
But I'm reading the first paragraph of Bushman Shaman, and I'm starting to tremble.
You're hitting the wobble.
I go into the wobble. And,
just from reading this?
And then I started to get teary-eyed. And I shut the book. I'm like, what the hell is happening here?
Oh.
And
so many people are looking for...
So I read it straight through, and it just wept throughout the book. And because it took me right to the Kalahari, and it talks about the big love of God.
Yeah.
Not the big love of the Arcturians, who are emotionalists.
No, back to
Not
your
the
cornerstone.
They're talking about this ecstasy of movement, of rhythms, okay, of relationship with family, of God, of creatures, of environment, of changing form. I mean, it was all in there, and I was just literally cooking inside. They use that metaphor, by the way, because it literally heats you from the inside out. So here's that fire happening again, and I'm like, where's this author?
So this one,
I'm going
this
to
one
Africa.
again is coming from below up. It's
Yeah.
been back into fire. So
Yeah, it goes straight into the big.
So
big God.
that sends you on the crossroads back, elevating instead of saying vertical.
If you don't stay in the lower centers of power.
Okay.
Okay. And
So before you've made it up to the heart,
Yeah.
on your
Yeah.
opening your Kundalini.
and that was enough to make me mad. I mean, insane almost.
Well, probably the raising of it was probably like the heaviest moment of your life up to maybe not getting married or having children, but
No, it was definitely the most mysterious.
it was a heavy
experience.
moment. But it stopping there kind of frustrated you then.
Yeah, and I didn't know how because I would feel pain in my back, my upper back.
Yeah,
my
so
lower back healed.
It had moved from your
But there was just this achy piece of my mid back that, like tried to get it out, and I just couldn't move
you
it.
just couldn't fix it.
Yeah, and sometimes it would intensify based on my emotion. Sacred emotion would stir it up, and oh man, just trying to move it. So I'm like, where is this guy? And guess where he was speaking?
Where was he?
Sedona.
Oh, back to hippie central.
Back to Sedona. So I drove 600 miles, 300 one way, to go hear him speak at the foundation that actually sponsored him, where he went all over the world studying healers. So
he went.
So he did.
He went and studied healers, and
he was a closet shaman acting as a psychologist.
Oh,
Really? Oh,
nice.
best
Yeah.
kind.
He had an original experience at 19 years old that would blow your mind if you read it.
Yeah. So, well, I would say you had an original experience at 19 as well.
Yeah.
When are you writing your book?
It's in the works, but it's not.
Nice.
It's not for the public consumption.
What do you mean? I mean, if you got something to offer.
It's a love offering for my children.
Oh, okay. Good.
Very
Little
cool.
memoir. But so I met I parked outside Ringing Rocks Foundation waiting for this event to happen, and he must have been inside because he came out before the event started. I just jumped out of my car and I went over to talk to him, and he just opened up his arms and just gave me this big giant hug. And I'm taller than he is, but he just felt huge, like enormous, and I just
like a chiropractor.
Yeah, except his adjustment was a vibratory that stayed with me. I mean, literally, it started up the trembling again, like he describes in the Bushman Shaman. And that night, I heard him speak, and he was just so dynamic. I mean, everybody in the audience was trembling, like literally.
So he brought people in, brought the audience into the wobble.
It was electric. And I was going to sleep there overnight because it was, but there again, I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
So I took off for home, and I did stop in southern Utah, and that morning I went up into the Red Rocks to pray, and I started wobbling and praying. That's when you pray hard, and you don't have to say a lot of words, but you have to feel a lot, and you move, and you get into the rhythm of the word and of the words that take you higher, and that place in my middle of my back started to come alive, and it went up, and it shot out my head.
Oh, they're in the Red Rocks.
Yeah.
Okay.
When it shot out my head and just kind of flowered me into a cocoon of just extreme love. I had no inclination to hurt anybody. I could see visionary, wars going on, everything. I loved everybody, including the bad guys. And it was just one of the most remarkable experiences of my life to have, and that was kind of a continuation of this awakening. Again, this is 2008.
So this is quite recent.
So eight years of, so don't do it fast.
Yeah.
There's a Chinese curse that says, may you be enlightened instantly.
Oh, really? Well, that's like the Chinese like that curse.
That's
may
how the
you
Southern ladies
may you
bless
live in interesting. May you live in interesting times.
Yes,
that's a curse also. So now, when it opened you up, is that a feeling you felt? Did it become like a constant feeling, like a constant perception, or the way you saw the world after that? Or,
yeah, I didn't want to tell people what the energy takes on shapes and forms based on second creation or words.
Ways that you'll recognize.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you look at
We
these.
need to cover what first creation and second creation is real
Okay,
quick.
first creation is where you want to go. When you start wobbling, you're moving into first creation.
And first creation is
Is
before
where,
everything had a name or
Yeah, before-
or any
there are no
physical.
words in first creation. Everything's changing in first creation.
So there's no physical. It's just
It's
it's the material waiting to be made into something. Maybe
it's heaven.
Is it
Okay.
is it kind of where we go when we're done here? Do we go back to first creation?
It's heaven. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to pretend to know what it's like, or if there's any varying degrees, but there's always going to be a changing, and there might be stations where you stop. I don't know, but it's there's other mystics out there that not me that can go into that, but the changing, first creation is something that you experience, and I mean, you might become an eland.
Mm-hmm.
You might experience the world like a giraffe. You might be a bumblebee, and yet the feeling of it is this source of divine love that's so exquisite that you can't put a word to it. Because if you put a word to it, you come out of the wobble,
It freezes it and it goes to the second creation.
and now you start writing books about it.
So
That's
that-
this is second creation.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. The hard part about these guys that do all this work in assisting people to get to first creation, then they write a book, which I think more than just having a course on it would drag it into second creation.
That's the challenge that mystical teachers have is the teaching of it. It's better to be embodied in it. My teacher at first, he wouldn't teach anything. I studied with him for so many years, where he would just come in and play the music and turn up the heat, and everyone would just start cooking, changing, metaphorically clearing out their shit. Excuse me.
Oh, you're fine. You can- I've said much worse on this show.
But it cleans you out because you're in the wobble. You're on the bow of the boat being pulled inside out. And it's not until later that I worked with Brad that actually right after that experience I started having more dreams, and that's when I started dreaming of Africa again. Remember my prayer 20 years ago? 20, send me back to Africa. I didn't care how, just send me back. I love those people so much that just send me back. And I remember I prayed for a rope. Well, guess what I read in this book? They call their connection to God a rope.
So that's what I'm asking earlier is you've got this natural draw, not a natural draw to it. I think you've got a natural draw to bring it to you.
Well, there is no outcomes base or law of attraction. That's trickster.
Okay.
Okay. What you seek is seeking you.
Okay.
It's a relationship and it's circular. And so, yeah,
Betsy, make sure there's not a big Twinkie out front.
It's seeking you.
It's going to be like,
Here it comes.
Like Ghostbusters.
Oh, no, you don't think of that. No.
You're yelling at me, Ray, when it asks what form you want the destroyer to be
No,
in.
it's true. If you have a longing for something, you rest assured it's seeking you. And that's what I was feeling.
Same for negative things.
It's
If
what you're feeding.
If I'm feeding negative emotions, it's likely seeking me out.
If you're feeding a wolf instead of a lamb, you're going to attract wolves.
That's my concern for like the time we live in right now with all the chaos in the world.
Yeah.
Now that is probably true because we've got a lot of people that seem to be not just preparing for chaos to come, but kind of
inciting it.
And well, you've got those obvious ones that incite it, but you got some people who are watching for it, and and it keeps building and boiling and building. And here in this nation, it seems like too many people are maybe thinking about it or requesting it. Not just requesting it, but thinking about it, concentrating on it too much.
The focus is on it.
Instead one of the greatest minds of this century, Gregory Bateson, who my teacher was a mentor of Gregory Bateson, but surpassed him in understanding the cybernetic epistemology. He said that that primary cornerstone, that first choice, is the most important, because that's really, it's like predestination or free agency. Okay, once you choose, you have free agency, agency to choose anything you want as a cornerstone. But once you start building a reality, in other words, if you start feeding that wolf, or feeding that,
am I too
belief,
old to define my cornerstone?
So if somebody
define it every day.
So let's say somebody chooses their cornerstone, defender of X.
Yeah.
A crusader for X. So
X
crusader,
will start to rule their lives.
Say crusader for the plight of inner city poor people. But that can be fed into a negative thing where they start interacting with outsiders in a negative way, crusading for. So their initial mission is a positive one, but because it's so focused, pinpoint, that outside of that no longer matters, or maybe because it has an initial violence in defense design that it blossoms into violence.
Crusader feels negative. That has a negative. What if it was lover of inner city?
Here's what happens. You have an original experience, a first vision, and it changes you. And then you write it down, and then you defend it, and then you doctrinize it, then you write articles about it, and then somebody else, so in other words, it becomes a reality. It becomes a religion.
Yes.
And or it becomes a crusade.
You speak it into
or it
reality.
becomes your reality. There are many realities.
Sure.
And if you
I want to explore that sometime.
Context is everything. Okay, so the context of the Bushman spiritual universe is much different than Kunlun. Okay, and the Arcturians. Okay, so the context is everything, and the context is built by that cornerstone that you lay down first, and then you build sacred ground or a reality around that cornerstone. Once that happens, and you'll see this with people in life, is that life starts to run them.
Yes.
Okay, life starts to run them. And sometimes it's chaos. Like, how come I can't get ahead in life?
Yes.
And so then they go into the power trip of, law of attraction.
That's your cornerstone.
I can attract anything. I'm powerful. I'm going to love myself.
That's so horizontal.
The secret where you
Yeah.
hanging pictures of stuff you want on
You get on
magical board.
What do they make it? A goal board or whatever?
Vision board.
A vision board.
Yeah, or worse, they go to a weekend workshop where they learn how to be a shaman. I mean, shit. Sorry.
In a weekend?
I've repented of my ways because I used to teach it.
In one weekend?
Yeah, we took a little longer, but when I said I don't no longer do that because this teacher brought me back off the horizontal.
He took you off the material side and
he could smell the BS in me and my know-it-allness, because trickster made me want to feel powerful and proud, and I still have a tendency for that. And
so what you were doing wasn't exactly negative.
No.
It's not like you were saying, you didn't start a cult up in northern Washington,
no,
and then buy a little town and have weird orgies. and a whole bunch of Rolls Royces, but you were touching on something like that.
It all starts with an original experience.
Yeah, that guy's cornerstone was Rolls Royce, and the rest of it built around
But
that.
you see how if you don't rise all the way up to the highest, if you don't keep saying thy will be done or surrender to the highest, then you want a Twinkie. You want to
Sure.
build your life around.
You become fine.
Yeah. And
building your sacred area around
and that's how
wherever you've
addictions
stopped.
happen. It starts to run you, and that's there's chemical tendencies too. But God, you can be addicted to God.
Oh, I'm sure. What's that preacher's name? The young, handsome
No,
feller?
no, seriously. That one drop I had on the bow of the boat. That's why I said it messed me up.
Okay, so it made you seek God more.
I hungered for it. I was thirsty for it. I didn't know how to get it back other than praying.
Go crazy trying to find it.
Yeah, other than praying and seeking.
And that
Oh.
that
That would be so much harder
That-
than being addicted to Twinkies. You could just go to the corner store and pick those up.
that form isn't meant to be found in the LDS faith. So the LDS faith
Yes.
doesn't offer that release for you.
They got a whole different path called the obedience path versus the no. I don't want to. There's a lot of good community LDS people out there that I relate with in my own community.
Their obedience path is
the obedience path is a difficult path, and one of my teachers said, "Yeah, you can become enlightened if you're obedient, but it just takes longer."
Yeah.
And I want to kind of go left and right and swing here and there and just experience it all. And but eventually my teacher, my dear teacher, Brad and Hillary, husband and wife, Keeneys, said something that profoundly moved me. Was we've been praying for you for a year. I'm like, what? Yeah. Your rope is bent, is what they said. And in other words, I'd been swinging too far, and it's time to come back. That's the prodigal son story, where he's eating with the pigs and saying, what the hell did I become? And I wasn't an evil person.
Sure.
No.
I wasn't doing anything that
You just
I'm not.
stopped to smell the wrong flowers.
Yeah, I wasn't doing anything I wasn't ashamed of.
Well,
But,
even now you shouldn't be ashamed of it because
No.
at the time you weren't.
I mourned for 2 years after that, and I literally gave up teaching everything. I was with my wife Sherry now, then and now, and we gave all the money back and just said, hey, we're sorry. We taught you some techniques, but that's not it.
But maybe you introduce them to where they seek out further.
I'll just throw all that in the wobble and hope God will sort it out, because I think he does, or she.
Good.
Or
Yeah.
she.
Yeah, I don't
He,
even
she.
remember.
They sort it out.
Don't give it
Those
a
are
name.
words, yeah.
Yeah,
That you hope that sorts it out.
exactly.
Yeah, because if you give it a name, then you
Freeze it.
Froze
freeze
it.
it, and you don't want to freeze
No, you want to stay in the heat.
the you don't want to freeze the whatever.
Stay in the relationship with the mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's my whole life.
How hard is that?
My whole life is the mystery. Well,
I overanalyze everything.
It's because we're
What?
addicted. We're addicted to understanding.
Yes.
We're addicted to knowing what
And
is.
it's because we're taught from very little that this is a cup, and this is a bottle, and this is a table, and this is a pen. So when we come into something that we don't understand, we want to fit it into that storyline. We want to give it a name, give it its proper place, teach it what to do in our lives, and that's where we get lost.
So maybe let me wind up with, after I met Dr. Keeney, and the serpent blew through my crown.
he actually went all the way to the
It's
top.
just boom. Yeah.
And when that happened, was it in your mind's eye? You saw the explosion, you felt it.
Oh yeah, and it like a periscope. It could see behind me. Yeah, it was wild. Like if someone came in the room behind me, it would look around and I knew who it was.
Oh man,
it was bizarre, totally bizarre.
So it kind of opened up the. We're not going to name it, but it added. It expanded on your perceptions and pushed them out further.
Yes. I went into a bigger room existentially.
Yeah.
My mind was blown. I was transformed. The bud became the rose, and my path is not done. And I'm just.
Is anybody's ever?
No. It's always changing, and you should start over like a child's mind every day. But I started having dreams big time, like every night. I would have these dreams of Bushmen, dancing with Bushmen.
And you hadn't been back to Africa yet?
No.
Okay.
But these dreams were so real, like my dream in the junipers, that I didn't know if I was awake or asleep, or if I had woke up. They were still in my room. They were still there.
So it was
back, kind of like those shadow creatures. They were still there, but I could see them in vivid color.
But it's kind of a lucid dream, but also maybe a little more.
It was as real to me as my child coming into the room and saying, "Hey, Dad, I can't sleep." No, it was wild, and this happened for almost a year, and so I knew that I was going to go to Africa, back to Africa.
So you just had to gear up and get ready to go.
I went and got a passport.
Uh-huh.
I got everything ready. I told my wife I'm going to a spine course in
Which is this the first wife still?
Yeah, it was the first.
There's a spine course in Africa. You wouldn't know the place.
Yeah, in a crazy way, I divorced in 2008. After 20 years with a wonderful woman, and 3 days later, I was on a plane to Africa.
So it was kind of.
It was divine.
Well,
it was.
It was a vortex of. You went and bought a red, Corvette and started dating a 19-year-old. Is that what you're saying?
No, Brad
Miata.
Brad Keeney actually came to Salt Lake in 2008 and said, "Hey, guess what?" And I go, "What?" For the first time, I'm taking a small group of people with me to go visit the Bushmen.
Now, what tribe are these Bushmen?
The Kalahari, the San. They preferred this to be called Bushmen.
So you didn't just go to
Bushmen.
Africa. You went to visit the Bushmen in Africa.
In Namibia, yeah. And
wow.
But I told Brad, I said, "Hey, are you going the second week of July?" He goes, "Yeah, how'd you know?" I'm like, "I've been dreaming this for a year. I got my bags packed. I got my passport, and I'm ready."
That's awesome.
You were ready to go.
I was ready to go. So
don't leave anything out. How was your trip?
Life-changing. 3 days late, 3 days after divorce, I'm obviously anew, shedding a lot of things, and we drove 2 days into the desert, outside of civilization, and when we arrived in the Bushman village, the screaming of joy, came on, because they knew that Brad had come back. He was the big white Bushman.
Oh, so he was. They had adopted him. They had
already adopted him in, and of course, he was called. That's his calling. He and his wife Hillary is to record all this, and so for the last 10, 15 years, he had recorded all these healers throughout the world. And the morning that I was going to visit the Bushmen, we were kind of camped under a baobab tree, a great big tree. and I was out in the bush praying, and something I saw in my spiritual vision was coming at me. It's like all the trees and animals and connections were coming, the lines, and they converged into my belly and nailed me. Literally, they call it a nail or an arrow. And I got in the Jeep, and immediately I went into the wobble. And this time I couldn't stand up. I was so dizzy, so sick. I threw up my breakfast. I couldn't even sit up. And for 3 days, I slept and just purged everything. This is no drugs, no nothing. This is just the Bushman told Brad that, some mystery things happen, and so they wanted to come and dance in our camp, to a healing dance. And within 20 minutes, actually I'd been in my tent for 3 days, like death. I thought I was dying, seriously.
So you were scared at that time, thinking,
I thought I was going to die.
Thinking, did I come here
to die
and enter in this? And
yeah. So I was 20% strength. I remember kind of, that's my physical therapy background. Yeah, how well do you feel? I'm about 20%. I was 20% strength, and I came out because I was cold, and it's a Southern Cross in the sky. It's beautiful, and it's crispy night, and all the village is there, and they're singing and dancing just like this picture.
And it looks kind of like they're in a, I don't know if that's a, because you can see
that's the men's dance.
Okay,
the dance,
and they've got, like, you can see where they've danced a circle, like they've been doing it. They've been doing that for more than a minute.
60,000 years.
Oh.
So anyway, within 20 minutes, I'm feeling like I'm on Red Bull again.
Yeah.
Completely healed, completely energized, like I could do backflips. Because it does give you a sense of power. I mean, literally, you would want to go jump in the fire or go wrestle a lion.
Is that your vibration turned up?
It just
don't wrestle lions, by the way. But is that your vibration turned
Actually,
up?
some of them do. I mean, they want to, and the elders have to pull them back.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. There's elders. Their specific job is to go just around the outside, not to defend. The village, but to stop the teenagers.
Is to point to the highest source.
Mm-hmm.
Don't follow after that power trip. I mean, I saw some of the Bushmen taking red hot coals and eating it.
Oh man! And I thought some of those Carolina Reapers are rough.
Anyway, well, I was totally better after that. I was like, the next morning I was resurrected.
So you had to purge some stuff from your body.
I
you hear about that?
Yeah,
like,
literally.
Like when they take ayahuasca, they have a purge before they meet. Ayahuasca is a female spirit elevation.
Plant,
But it's a female god that they meet in ayahuasca. She's the opposite of a male god that you meet through I think through their meditation.
Yeah, the females are more powerful.
Well, they truly are. They're the ones that give birth.
Oh yeah, the elders.
The male gods are
and the elders know it.
Yeah,
they know it. But the women don't admit that. That's the, you know what their power is? They told us. Because they told us, because the men tend to jump into the power trips, but the women healers, the women grandmothers, were the strongest healers. They could put your hands on, or just the vibration of being around the music and the vibration in the circle would heal you. And but they say the sacred emotion, that most important ingredient, was love.
Mm-hmm.
And mothers, grandmothers, I held a baby today, like a week old.
Oh yeah.
I went into the wobble.
Oh, really?
Yeah, right there at
I
work.
I enjoy holding babies.
And
I've got a brand new granddaughter.
you've
that's
got
only
a
couple
brand
months
new-
the
old.
grandmother and the mother was there, and I could just feel the love. And this purity, this baby was just like, oh my gosh, this is a bridge to the other side. And I literally, like, take it back. You know? take her back, because I was going.
I'm about
man.
to lose
I was
it.
going.
I'm about to
I was
lose it.
losing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, and that is a difference. This has been studied for a long time, but women's love, when you say small room and big room, women's love is small room love. Their love travels mostly generationally down. Their strongest love is in their tight family and maybe the extended family, where men's love goes
Horizontal.
well, it does. It covers nations, counties.
Yeah.
You know, men are more willing to go out and expand their force into a wider.
But that's
Wider
the
range.
reality of power
Well, it's not just that, but that's also evolution.
and survival. Yeah.
Yeah,
Those are
we
those,
wouldn't be here if
Yeah.
those designs weren't there. You had to have someone who would fight for the whole village.
You know, the sacrum where the symbolic snake coils 3.5 times is your survival center. And so survival, the fear, actually can help wake you up. You can jump out of an airplane and have a Kunlun experience.
Oh, I imagine.
Yeah.
Probably not a good time to have
Yeah.
it if you
You can
if
wake
you're
up.
in control of your own ripcord. Not a good time.
no, but as things rise to the heart, and if you have a mind that is refined enough to empty itself of the BS and have that cornerstone, then what happens is your heart opens. And I think women have an easier time at that. I just believe that. That's, I don't know if it's true. But,
I'm sure it is.
You know, I think women could probably solve the world problems better than men.
There's a lot of debate on that, and the esoteric debate on that is how women's. Have you ever heard? You hear this the old trope, the evil stepmother, and that's an old trope because love travels from a woman straight down the family line easier than it travels out, where a man's love won't be a strong pinpoint, but it travels out stronger and further.
And their sacred ecstasy goes up.
I don't know anything about any of that, but all I know is about
that's the sacred orgasmic ecstasy.
I just know about the willingness. They've been studying this through military studies forever. The willingness for men to make grand sacrifices for a broader area of people, for people they'll never meet. No chance of them ever meeting people on the edges of where they're willing to make a sacrifice for. Ideas fall into that. Where women, their ideas of what they'll make a sacrifice for comes down into people that's in direct family lineage.
The gatherers, the seed gatherers.
It makes total sense
yeah,
to me.
Yeah.
And that's been a long-term study.
But then again, science is in second creation. And it's not in the big enough room.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
So yeah, science is a part of the whole.
Well, I think those are evolved traits. I don't think it's a trait that comes from anything we do raising them. I think it's evolved. It's
about survival.
It's in our DNA and how we can maintain and continue as a species.
Yep, I agree.
So once you get into the wobble, then what? What are you supposed to do after that?
Let me guess. What are you supposed to do after you get in the wobble? I think, not give it a name.
Quit thinking.
I would say drink it in.
Yeah, drink it in and share it.
Now, how do you share the wobble?
You share the gift, because when you get into the wobble, you might receive a song, or you might receive a gift, a calling.
Okay.
You might have art. You might have music. as a gift, you might have building houses.
So maybe the Mona Lisa was a vision in a wobble.
The Mona Lisa, yeah, she had a secret smile going on.
Well, I mean, maybe when Da Vinci sat down
yeah.
to paint, he vibrated.
Oh, absolutely.
Entered
Yeah.
the wobble. And maybe her
Yeah.
picture when she sat there, she was like, maybe she was a modern teenage girl.
But that's why art inspires us, because it comes from the wobble. It comes from the other side.
Comes from people who are
Yeah.
a bit touched.
That's why really the gift that this divine the whole divine gift brings us is performance, not talk. Is behaving in a way that's loving and humane.
Mm-hmm.
It's creating things together. It's community and relationship and in my case, obviously it's my work, which is helping others get out of pain and.
Well, I'm sure this has helped your practice greatly, and when you're working on people to help add that into it.
I got to tell you a story. A quick thing that happened today. If you're out there, I thought this was just so sweet. After I held that baby, I had a patient out on the floor that was watching, and she knows me real well. She's one that I would call an elder, because she's wise spiritually.
Got kind of a natural.
Yeah, and we have a lot of talks, and she just groks. She understands me. She saw my reaction to this beautiful child, and when I came out on the floor, of course I'm full of it. And what do I want to do? I'm looking around. I want to touch people.
Yeah. You want to share that wobble.
I want to hug someone. And she looked right at me and she goes, "Come here. I want some of that."
Yeah. She saw
and COVID or not, I gave her a big hug. And I just thought, wow, you saw that. You discerned that. That's a nose. That's what the Bushmen have. That's the sweetness that I probably want to end on. That's the as the Bushman would say.
I would say that again.
The
So starts with an N. Click your tongue.
Click O-M, like Om.
Okay, give me a minute.
Om.
It might take me a minute. I'm going to practice that one. I can't roll my R's.
But that's not what it is. That's just a respect name for the ineffable. And but the ineffable in our words would be such an exquisite love that it shoots you into sacred ecstasy.
So for our name could be like the Om.
I mean,
man. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Can I hear an amen? Somebody have an amen?
Can I get an amen?
That's the call and response. That's how you get in the wobble with somebody else. I might say, hey, and you say, or hello. What do you say back? Hello?
Hi.
Hello.
How's it going?
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
And you interact with that person until it amplifies. And that's partly what's wrong with religions, because we just sit there and
quietly listen,
fold our arms and don't shake.
Yeah, that, and there's another thing about yours. They haven't given it a name. They haven't given it a meaning or a design, where all the religions that commonly go to war with each other are given a name, a meaning, and a design. This is the end goal. This is the.
Well, I think
it cools down. It cools down, and you get ice cold. Yep. You go into the Arctic, basically.
For me, it's the difference. Spirituality is big room. Religion is small room. That's what it feels to me. Like it's.
But you got to find those teachers, those people that embody it. And coming from Africa, you're going to see it in some of your African American sanctified churches. You're going to see it in Jamaica and in the Caribbean.
Oh yeah.
But they're going to be ecstatic. They're people that are holy, that love the Lord and literally get ecstatic with a worshipful or devotional kind of expression, rather than just Bible study. They're doing it rather than talking about it.
Awesome. What's next for you before we close?
I have no idea. Actually, I'm in a new beginning right now. I just finished a summer camp with my beloved teachers, Hillary and Brad Keeney, and I'm entering another camp there. And I just want to honor my teachers, all of them. I wouldn't be here today without them, because I certainly didn't do this on my own. I'm too much of an idiot.
No. Let's face it.
I mean, trickster would have taken me anywhere.
You were
seriously.
Open,
you need a pointer.
Something from the origination, whether it was the shadow beings you saw, whether it was simply your mom drank a Coke on the wrong day where caffeine or whatever hit you in utero. Something had
That's what it was.
Something had you open to this because you experienced it at Pineview, and it struck you. You know, all my experiences semi like that have alcohol involved in it. So
spirits.
Yeah, spirits, and which is why they get their name.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm
go for the high vibrational spirits like tequila.
What's this other book you have? Let's share that with the listeners.
This is called Sacred Ecstatics: The Recipe for Setting Your Soul on Fire by the Keeneys, and
so that's this guy and his wife,
and he's, you know, his is not their dreams and teachings are nonstop. They can't stop it because it's just coming down, and they've basically showed in the world now, because he's like 70 years old now, and when I met him in 2006, I said I want to learn from him. I want to learn everything I can from him, and he's not holding back. I mean, this is me in 2006. Look at the fire in his eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason I show it on Troy's screen and cover up his lovely face is because I can't reach way over there to get me and Betsy's.
So yeah, that basically gives you the recipe if you want to follow the steps to just waking up. And these teachers are they don't offer any bullshit.
Where are they at now?
They're in New Orleans, probably fighting a hurricane.
They're in New Orleans.
They're in the whirl right now.
Oh yeah.
And we've been going back and forth to New Orleans quite a bit, and going all over the world with them, with friends from Norway and Budapest. And
so you've got a group, a ward, if you will.
yeah, with no boundaries.
Yeah. But you've got a group that you're studying and elevating and learning with each other,
and honestly, I'm a baby.
You're the young one.
I can have a conversation with you and maybe say some things that might describe it in a little bit, but I'm just a beginner.
You're the one up front that's picking his nose before they call you up to deliver sacrament.
I'm the one that's confused. I'm saying, what the heck is going on? But in a way, that's good to have a beginner's mind. So.
Yeah, sorry about that beeping, guys. I tried shutting it off.
Learning.
Yeah, always be learning. ABL.
Yeah.
ABL.
Anyway, that's probably where we ought to stop.
A good introduction, definitely.
But
awesome. But my life is dedicated to serving that rope that got me off the spiritual plateau, because that rope is the rope to God, and when you get a hold of it, it gets a hold of you, and it just changes your life.
That is awesome. Now, just in case anyone wants to reach out to you, do you want to give out any? I mean,
I'm not seeking any notoriety or anything. I just, hopefully this information can help. I would recommend the books. Maybe you can list them on your site.
For sure.
Definitely. We'll list the books.
If you have spine issues, I can probably help you with
now,
that.
yes, his professional side. We don't have to name that here, but everyone who needs it already should know. I mean,
I'm on Facebook, and
the word around town. about his PT practice.
I'm now out of the spiritual closet.
Oh boy.
How does it feel?
Oh man.
You know, it's funny.
it a little scary?
Years ago, they said I would have to. I've had this weird premonition that I'd have to make 3 big sacrifices, and my business was the third one.
Do you think you'll have to sacrifice your business for this? I don't think you should. I think
we're in a unique time where there's a lot of spiritual awakening taking place.
I think even then even if you shouldn't have to, just because you're good. People who come to you and people who've experienced your material business,
I think
you're good, and word of mouth on you is excellent.
The crossroads for me now is if I dedicated my life to serving the rope to God, my prayer then is throw me anywhere, Lord.
So you may have to leave the business for,
I'm at the mercy of again. I'll go where I'm called to go. And it may be a changing form of my business as it is now. Who knows?
Yeah, you might have a PT business open up in Africa somewhere.
Maybe I'll become an eland hunter. taking up. Did anybody see this?
Yeah. Hold the eland up. That's his spirit animal.
No, it's my. I got that at Tractor and Supply. You can get that. Anyway, hey, it's been a joy.
Yeah, it's been great, Troy. And
you guys are great.
We'll have to do a catch up sometime. See where you're at, say in a few months, and
if you want to dive into something else,
maybe a Zoom call when he's traveling somewhere.
An Africa Zoom call.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
My wife Sherry is much smarter than I am, and she has all this stuff in her head. She's the data person, and maybe we can both be on
definitely,
because she's my complement. She's my relationship, and this spiritual work should be in relationship to something bigger than yourself, and if you're lucky, you find a companion or some kind of relationship that just makes your life better. So that would be.
I like it. That's a good message to leave on.
Thank you.
To find if going through life, to find a companion that
compliments you.
Yeah, compliments and expands the path you're on, makes it better. I think that's a good thing to leave it on, because if you find a partner that pulls you from your path, that
keeps you horizontal for sure.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. All right, Troy, thanks for coming on. Everybody,
thank you very much.
Yeah.
Look through the show notes. We'll have the names of these books, and we'll put Troy's Facebook on there for his coming out party.
we can have a party at the shed.
Next, yeah. Well, next time we have
shout out for my neighbor, my closest neighbor.
Yeah, hey, I love it up there. I love it. But next time Troy comes on, we'll have him step out of the closet and sit down. But yeah, I do love it up at the shed. But yeah, we can have a coming out party, streamers, and I don't know what else.
Probably should have done that this time. Yeah. You may have missed a
definitely some music. Gotta get some music.
Yes, but thanks for coming on, Troy.
Thank you.
And
thanks for having me.
Oh, definitely. And everyone, will see you next Tuesday. Don't know exactly what shows.
More paranormal, probably.
We've got 2 shows coming on. 2 shows in the works. And so we'll see which one shows up. I'm working the details out now. But yeah, and then speaking of the Crossroads, I'm working on a show right now about the 27 Club. So that's all about Crossroads. All right.
Very cool.
Thank you very much. Everybody have a wonderful night, and we'll see you in a week.
Thank you for listening. We have opened our network up for ad space. If you're interested in running an ad, please contact us at jared@thewowpod.com.
sign of a healer. 5 of the people killed, not a sign of a healer.